Alright, what's going on, guys? So today I'm trying to fix my horns because the horns aren't working. This is after we did the auto to manual conversion in my transmission, and found out, well, yeah, it didn't test the horns, weren't thinking about it when we switched out the columns, and was going down the road, needed to use the horn, and the horn didn't work. So I'm going to go through, and after much struggling here, it's probably been 3 or 4 hours trying to figure this out. I opened up my factory service manual, and of course there's a section on it, so lesson learned there is when you're stuck, immediately go to your factory service manual, because you'll definitely find something in order to fix it. Okay, so I've pulled off the horn pad here, and on here there's a constant live wire, so this wire has 12 volts the entire time, even if your key's switched off, and then this other one has a ground here. These are both attached to the back of your horn pad. Here's the back of the horn pad. Just labeled them there to make sure I know which one goes to which, but I'm pretty sure it does not matter which one goes to which. The way that the horn switch works here is there's 2 copper plates, if you can see there. There's one on each side of that piece of foam, and when you depress the horn pad, that foam depresses and makes contact between the 2 plates, and then the circuit is completed. And what that does is it completes the ground circuit, and then your horn gets grounded and it completes the circuit, so then the horn can go off. What I couldn't figure out, what I was struggling with, was the fact that, like, I was pushing down on the horn pad and everything was connected. I tested all my connections on the steering wheel, so I had power, and I had good ground, I had good continuity. There's nothing wrong with my clock spring. There's nothing wrong with any of the wires going to and from. I checked the ground on the horn, each horn. There's 2 horns under the driver's side fender, and there was nothing wrong with those. I tested the horns themselves. You can test that by doing taking a wire and putting it from the positive terminal on the battery to the connection point on each horn, and they worked that way. So I knew there was another problem, so I'll show you how I tested. Alright, so I'm underneath the hood here, and this is the driver's side fender. What I did here, the horns are located here, just underneath the fender. I took a test light, connected it to the wire that goes to the battery, and then take my test light, and what you can do is take your test light and put it to a good ground, and that way when you depress the horn, the light on the test light will either light up or it won't light up. So here's a good breakdown in the factory service manual for my 92 Dodge. This is a 92 factory service manual, and I hook it up according to, there's a page previous to this, according to the way that it shows you how to do it to test for the horns and the whole connection. So when you hook it up the way that I just showed you there to the wire at the horn, and then take your test light and stick it to a good ground, if the test light turns on, then that means you have a bad horn or the horn is not grounded. And if the test light's off, which in my case it was, that means to go and test the relay. So in that case, I took out my relay, and this is from the fuse box just underneath your steering column here. The relay itself is located just beside your, I think that's your blinkers up there, your blinker relay. So you take that out and replace it with a good one and see if that's the problem. So if you replace it with a known good one and the test light's on, then you have a faulty relay itself, which in my case I'm pretty sure it is. And a way to test that is, if your test light's still off after you have a relay in there, then let me just scroll down here a little bit. Then what you can do is, if your test light's off, then you can take the relay out and test it by connecting a jumper wire from that terminal to that terminal. And if your horn goes on when the switch is depressed, then
or sorry, not if the horn goes on, if the test light goes on, then it should be good.
So in order to test my bad relay, or my relay at least, I take this just jumper wire, I put these two connectors on there, and then what I'm going to do is stick this in, just like in the manual said there, between that port and that port. And in this case, since I have two horns and not one horn, the horn should automatically go off if I stick it between that terminal and that terminal. And if you have one horn and you depress the switch, then your light should go on, and that'll tell you that you have a bad relay. So I'll test that, and I tested that and my horn went off, which tells me that I have a bad relay. So I'm gonna go pick up a new relay and plug it in, and if that was my problem, then good solution, good test, and then that should work. Alright, so it turns out my problem was I had a bad ground on the column, and in order to fix that, I've just created this little wire with connectors on the end, and I'm going to use the bolt there on the column, and that's attached to the dash, and then I'm going to ground this wire onto the column. So just to explain the background here a little bit more, I've got this test light hooked up to the battery, to the positive terminal on the battery. There's my good ground. And there's my ground on the column. As you can see, the ground there is much better than the one up here. So in order to fix it, I'm going to do it that and ground it to the dash, which has a good ground. This bolt has a good ground compared to the steering column. Bolt, steering column. Now I've got my good ground completed, and let's look at the column. Much stronger. Same as that ground. Now let's give her a test. Alright, problem's been solved with the help of the ground, a little bit of troubleshooting. Hopefully that helps anyone trying to deal with a horn problem. Thanks for watching.